Good morning, Mr. Jeff here with AKLA, the American Kempo Leadership Academy here in Hudson, Massachusetts. This is our live stream. Every morning we go live to bring different parts of our program to the public so that you may benefit during the COVID-19 crisis. If you'd like to try out our program, you can do it completely online. You can go to karateforfree.com. That's the first word, karate, number 4, free.com. If you see our Facebook ads rolling around as well, fill out the information and I'll personally give you a call back and set up your introductory lesson. That's also free and 100% online. Now today we're going to talk about two things. Perseverance, which we teach our students means to never give up, no matter how challenging the adversity around us gets. And second, there's self-control. Now, let's talk about self-control first. When we first come in as a white belt, we have to learn how to control our body, how to control our actions, and how to control our words. So we speak respectfully. We don't speak in a harming manner or an offensive manner, only a constructive manner. We control our body, meaning as we get energetic, especially with the little ones, we try not to be jumpy and bounce all over the place. We actually start with that attention stance like we talked about. That's our first act of focus, but it's also our first act of self-control, because I'm able to stand still even if I have an itch, even if I think something's funny. Maybe I'm embarrassed, and part of the way I deal with my embarrassment is I laugh. That's a pretty common thing. So this is our first act of self-control. We put on what we call our focus face, and we can only blink and breathe for a moment. That's our first act of self-control. Now these two subjects, self-control and perseverance, are two of our black belt principles. And they're intertwined with all of our character lessons and our physical martial arts lessons as well. So perseverance, never giving up, well, my goal is to become a black belt. And those who are training beyond black belt, of course, their goal is the next degree, which we have 10 levels in our system. Even our yoga students have the option to do the martial arts training. If they do, they become hybrid students and they're still earning a black belt while developing a structured yoga program. So as they're doing this, they're going to come across moments that they would consider a plateau, where they don't feel like they're progressing, right? And it gets difficult. Perhaps that's one of the most important times to have perseverance in your training. When you feel like you're not getting anything out of it, you have to speak up and you have to say, well, what's going on here? I would say first, check your self-control. If you're not having proper self-control in your practice, you are going to hit plateaus. You're not going to constantly be improving. So here's a good example. We're going to do a little bit of a stretching exercise today. And when we stretch, I want you to think about two things. We're stretching the body, and we're also stretching the mind. Because we're not just going to be 100% focused on conventional stretching. Conventional stretching by means of the athletic nature. We're going to be focusing on why we're stretching particular muscle groups, why we're standing in certain positions, and how that's going to help us to progress through the things that we feel like we're being challenged with. Like for instance, if a student is having difficulty learning how to move in their neutral bow, they might not have what we call toe-heel alignment, where you have space in between your feet. They might be stepping back too far, and they don't feel very strong because they don't have very good balance. So all the moves that they would learn in this neutral bow are not necessarily going to be as strong because they don't have a strong foundation, right? So we apply that mentality to each stretch for every muscle group, and building the flexibility in those muscle groups to fit the mold of each position. Now, It's not like a traditional style martial arts where you have to fit yourself to a specific system. What you're doing here is finding a system that fits itself to you. So all of these positions that you're molding yourself into are in accordance to your body's structure, in accordance to your abilities and disabilities. We all have both. So, for example, when we talked about how to measure the horse stance for your body, you start in the attention stance, you bring the heels out, and then you bring the toes out. You're in the natural stance now, according to your body structure. Then you do it one more time. Now you're in the horse stance, a little bit more than shoulder width apart. And of course, you have a few inches inside and outside your legs to adjust according to your comfort level. Right? So that's one basic way to think about it when you're standing in a position. In terms of stretching, I even apply this to resistance training. If you think about what we're doing, it's kind of like weight training. When you get into the tensing and releasing and the flexing part, we talked about how bodybuilders spend a lot of time in particular positions, flexing certain muscles. Well, we do that as well, but in a different way. We do it while we're in a position, learning a particular strike or movement. So it's the same mentality when we're stretching. So we'll start with two simple ones today. We have the shoulders, the arms, the hips, and the legs. Everything in between. Okay? Now when we're doing our stretches, say with our arms, we have to find all the possible ways that we use that arm. Okay? So here's some ideas to stretch your mind with. We can move inward with our arm. We can move outward with our arm. We can move upward with our arm. And we can move downward with our arm. We can go back. Here's our range of motion. This is as far back as we can go here. And this is as far back as we can go here. Now when we do that, operating in that mindset on that range of motion, I'm going to use whatever strike can be used on this, let's call it a circle today. So if I'm looking at this circle that I'm drawing, as I reach back, that's as far as I can go, so I'm going to do this. I might even open my hands and do this. Now as I'm coming back down with my full extension, what I can use is this. Then as I go back, I don't extend my hands like this, although I can, and some of the martial arts students know what this is when I do that. So if you understand the reason for the stretch you're doing, you're better off. Right? So I have here, and I have here. If I'm here, I'm not going to bring it up more. But if I do the crane position with my hands, then I will. Okay? Some of you, here's your hint. That's what this one is. Now I'm in another position. You can see I'm stretching this muscle here by putting it behind my back. So if I'm standing normal, I'm working on that stretch, but I don't even realize yet that it's a motion that I'm familiar with. So both of those, okay? Now I can stretch this way, reaching behind like this by bringing it down. I can bring it up this way, where I reach behind my back. I'm getting a really good arm stretch, yes, but I'm also in a position, okay, I'm familiar with it already. No movements whatsoever do we ever do for no reason. Okay? Let me rephrase that. We don't do any motion in our training that does not have a direct reason for doing it. So we don't just put our arms out and punch and kick just because, in other words. There's a systematic way of doing it, and we're learning each little piece as we go through. Okay? So it gets very easy to lose hope in your training. That's part of what it means to become a black belt. Because really, we know that a black belt is just a white belt who never quit. as we talked about when you saw this belt the other day, that's kind of what this symbolizes. Yeah. But self-control, it goes beyond being respectful and not being abusive to others. It goes deeply into your ability to focus using that perseverance and use that self-control to deliberately put yourself into a position for a specific reason. So, I'm going to stand like so because I'm working the position that happens on the first step before a front kick. Step 2, I bring it out. And I'm working on self-control, see? Even when I feel wobbly, I'm still putting my intent into doing that front kick. And even though I'm standing with balance, I'm still stretching the muscles that are involved here. So once I find the form and the mechanic of that kick, I can then find more constructive ways to stretch it. Let's say I have a windowsill or a wall or something to prop my foot up onto. I can put it there to take a little bit of the pressure off the balance and feel which muscles I'm stretching now. As I work on the motion of that kick, I look at it, I see how my knee is not completely straight. It's slightly bent so that way the ball of my foot can press into its target and push. I can even feel how my groin muscle gets a little bit of a stretch here and down here. I can feel how my body wants to go this way, but I'm keeping it turned this way as I do the kick. I can have my hands up. All of these direct right towards your goal of understanding the exact reason why you're stretching this way for the kick. So let's say you're in the gym, and we don't recommend practicing martial arts in public places, right? You practice specific parts of it in private because you don't want someone to get the wrong idea, right? But if you're in the gym, you can find ways to disguise the motion. Again, having extreme self-control. Nobody knows I'm working on a front kick there. Let's say I'm sitting down on a leg press machine. Well, I'm pushing with the balls of my feet on the leg press machine because I want to work the muscles that support the front kick. So if I focus on doing it like this too much, yes, I'm going to get a great workout in those muscle groups, but it's not going to be the smaller areas that allow you to have good penetration with that kick and good form and flexibility. So all of the motion we do, even if it's just a basic stretch, or if it's a stretch while pushing or pulling weight. Think about that one for a second. Am I stretching while I'm lifting weights? Am I stretching while I'm pushing and pulling? Kempoists, think about that. What about in our technique motions? Are we ever pulling onto somebody's body weight and then pushing with the other side, even if slow? Right? Think about it. Like I said, this is just as much of a mental stretch as it is a physical stretch. This is how a black belt thinks. It goes beyond just getting fit and just exercising. That's one little piece of what black belt self-control is. Now, I promise you, if you put that much intense focus, just like the attention stance, into an act of self-control, such as doing a stretch, or in this case, a stance, and again, when I'm in that stretch, or in that stance, I'm still doing a type of stretch. You just have to feel which muscle groups are stretching and which ones aren't. If you put that much intense focus into it, I don't think perseverance will be a problem for you. I think that you're going to excel through this training and you're going to meet our qualifications for black belt training. So if you want to learn more about that, go to karateforfree.com. I encourage you to start from the beginning of these live casts and pick up all of the little things in each video, and then check out what we did yesterday, where you put yourself to the test through a round of specific movements. And you can kind of set the tone for that as well, to raise your heart rate up to wherever you want to bring it according to your athletic ability. And then you bring it back down and relax, and then start your day. I look forward to meeting any of you and all of you. And I encourage you, if you're not able or not ready to do the online training yet, please share these videos. Share this information with others, because we want you to benefit from this. That's what this is all about. You're stuck in the house, and we want to offer a little bit of our experience to you, the viewer, not just those who want to sign up and become students. Thank you very much. Have a great day.